The Pelicans hit the court for their first preseason game, but forget the box score. It's all about the eye test. I'll tell you what to watch for and what's important in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pelicans, your daily New Orleans Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On Pelicans, the daily podcast covering your favorite team, the New Orleans Pelicans and NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Pelicans Insider, credential member of the media, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter, here with y'all on this Thursday. We're going to do the game preview on Thursday. Normally it'd be on Friday, but the Friday preseason game in Australia against Melbourne United is at 4:30 in the morning. So Friday's show will be out a little bit later, and it's going to be a recap of the game. I'm going to wake up at 4:30 to watch this game alongside y'all, tell you what we saw, what the big takeaways are, and I'm excited because it means basketball is back, y'all. The long off season, weird off season, big off season to change. We're on to the season. The games matter here. So I'm going to tell you what to watch for in this preseason game. Let's get into the rotations. Do they matter? Do they not? What do we want to see from Zion Williamson, Jordan Poole, all of that? And then we're going to talk about why this game is kind of important just in a larger picture when it comes to everything. So make sure, I don't know, stick around. I'm a little thrown off with the time change and everything here. So, of course, thank you for making, that's what I wanted, Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 11,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well and become an everydayer. That means you listen Monday through Friday to the Locked On Pelicans podcast. And if you're an everydayer, let me know in the comments down below. Are you going to be waking up at 4:30 Central Time to watch this game? Let me know. I'm curious how many of y'all are going to be doing that. I certainly am. Get the coffee and energy drinks ready. But I'm just happy we have real basketball to talk about. But how much should we actually read into the real basketball that we are going to see? So I want to get into the rotations and offensive flow here. Willie Green in the press conference, with the Melbourne United and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix coaches and players, kind of talked a little bit about what this is going to look like and kind of give a bit of a preview of this. And one of the first questions that was asked of Willie Green was, are we going to see the full rotation? What's it all going to look like here? And Willie Green, kind of laughed. Zion kind of laughed. It seemed like they were well prepared for what people were going to ask about when it comes to all of this. Knowing that this is an NBA team playing a non-NBA team. And while the NBL is a very good foreign league, it's in the top 3, top 4, I would say, easily. Has a claim to be #1, even if I probably wouldn't put it there. But this is a good, tough league, and you're seeing a lot of NBA players come out of there. This is still not playing against an NBA team or NBA players, and that's worth keeping in mind. And that's why when we watch this, it's more about do things look right than stats or other things like that. Because, look, if someone shoots 70% in this game, they maybe should. Right? It's not going to be the most telling, the most indicative of where this Pelicans team is. So Willie Green said, don't maybe expect the full rotation. His quote was, "We're still working on our rotations." And I think that's a natural thing to see here. With a team that has so much change, when you look at a stat called continuity ratings, right? It's how many players did you have from the last season that are still on your team. Pelicans are low. Pelicans are low with that. And after a 21-win season, you need to be low in that. So I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But it also means they're still figuring some things out. That's why training camp for New Orleans, the workouts that the team and the players did with themselves in the offseason is vitally important, maybe more so than other seasons. This is a year where you're lacking that continuity, so you're going to have some hiccups and things like that. The sooner you can iron all of that out, the better. And the better you can be to just playing the best version of basketball that you want to show out there. So don't expect full rotations. Don't expect a full offense. Don't read too much into who starts, who doesn't, right? Yeah, I'm curious to see if it's going to be Messi or Kevon Looney starting at center, but they might also rotate that, change that by game. Alternate, that is the word I'm looking for, by game. So don't read too much into some of what we're going to see out there on the court, because if you're playing NBA teams, that might be one thing, but even if you were, they still need to get some answers to what they're trying to do and trying to see. So this is just the first of that step. It's a data gathering stage, I think, for this team. You want to see how guys are used. Is Misi acting more like a lob threat? Is he on the perimeter? What is Kevon Looney doing? How are they using him? That stuff's important. That's all eye test things, which is why I said that in the beginning of today's show. Does Zion handle the ball the majority of the time? Is it Jordan Poole? What's kind of the ratio there? But even now, you won't be able to get a clear picture if that's indicative of what we're going to see in the regular season just because of exactly where things are and the teams that you're playing. So please keep all of that in mind. This easily, not saying easily, it could become kind of, an exhibition type of game where you're like, oh, wow, the Pelicans are just kind of running amok here. I don't think they'll necessarily do that. These NBL teams in Melbourne United and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix are definitely going to play as tough. They view this as a great test and want to prove themselves. And all of the guys on those teams are going to be hungry. And so if you come in without the right kind of energy, the right kind of effort, you could get shocked a little bit. And that would be embarrassing for this team. And they certainly don't want that. So the things you're looking for here, right, are do you have the right type of mentality, the right type of effort? Is this team look like they're giving 100%, or they're just like, we're going to run away with this win. We don't need to try as hard. If they're doing the latter, that's a problem, even if they win. If they're doing the former and they win by whatever amount, perfect. That's what you want to see them do. You want to see them approach this as if this is a tough opponent. But there will probably be some elements of this being an exhibition game and a bit of a show. We'll talk more about that in the third segment of today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. So basically what I'm trying to say is don't read too much into a lot of this, right? If Zion's scoring on every possession, they might be like, let's put the ball in Jordan Poole's hands and let's do something else. And if that's the case, that's not telling you much because that's not necessarily how it would go in a regular season NBA game or even in a preseason NBA game. And those are the type of things that we really want to learn a little bit more later. So are they doing all of that? I think is kind of the big thing here. What I will find kind of interesting, I think, and this was talked about at the introductory press conference, is, it's a very physical league, the NBL. They like to really press full court, pick you up, make you work 94 feet and all of that. I don't know if they want to necessarily do that. And they even joked about this against an NBA team, but they're going to try it at times just to see how the Pelicans respond. So they know that's coming. Are you prepared for it? Does that turn into a situation where it's like the Jose Alvarado taking advantage of an unprepared opponent? And I hope that it's not. So this team needs to kind of be right. Zion Williamson said a lot of the correct things. They were watching film on these teams on the plane, looking at things here to see where they could exploit some things or what they think those teams are going to do against them. And I love that about this squad here. So that is really great, I think, and something that you want to see this team be preparing for. That speaks to the mentality. That speaks to the mental preparation that they're doing. And I love all of that because this team needs to just get a little bit better when it comes to that. If you can get 5-10% better, this team can make a jump. But I couldn't tell you who's necessarily going to start, who's going to play all these minutes. If it's a blowout, does Zion not play a full allotment of minutes, even preseason minutes, that's where you got to just, are they doing the right things? And let's talk a little bit about that. What do we want to see them do beyond just, play hard? That's important. But I'll tell you what you want to see them doing in this game. And let's talk about Zion Williamson and what you want to see him exactly look like. That's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Today's episode of Locked On Pelicans is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. So whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors, this is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. And I love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It's actually going to track your reps, suggest the right weights, and it's going to correct your form. So it's making every rep safer and smarter. If you're new to weightlifting, new to exercising a certain way, You don't want to risk getting hurt. You might be doing things wrong. If you can get some coaching like that, that makes a really, really big deal. And the swivel screen, game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. So let yourself run, lift, flex even. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 11,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well and become an everydayer. That means you listen Monday through Friday to the Locked On Pelicans podcast. And if you're listening for the first time because you're in Australia, we appreciate you being here and making Locked On Pelicans part of your day. If you don't watch every single day, it's okay too. However you consume, listen, engage with Locked On Pelicans, I very much appreciate that, and it means the world, and it's why we do this show. So for your second listen, Locked On Saints, Ross Jackson making sense of everything black and gold. I actually talked to him today. When it comes to the New Orleans Saints, subscribe to Locked On Saints wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube as well. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And don't forget, you can watch Locked On Pelicans on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network every single weekday at 10:30 a.m. Same place you might be getting up at 4:30 in the morning to watch this Pelicans game. So let's talk a little bit about Zion Williamson and what you want to see from this team, right? I said, don't read too much into it. You want him to play hard, all that stuff. Here's a couple things I would like to see out there on the court. Move the ball. Pass the ball with purpose. Have I just completely blanked on the word. Play with purpose. That's kind of what it is. Pass with a plan. Know what you're doing. Don't just pass the ball to pass the ball, but move the rock intentionally. That's the word that I'm thinking of. If they're doing that, I'm going to feel pretty good. They want to play with tempo in the half court. There's pace, which just simply measures your number of possessions, but tempo is kind of like how quickly are you playing in those individual possessions? Are you moving the ball? That's tempo. Are you taking early shots in there that are good shots? That's tempo. You want to see the Pelicans play with tempo. When you hear them every year being like, we want to play fast, we want to play fast, we want to play fast, then they don't actually play fast. This is our first opportunity to see them play fast. So play fast, play with tempo, play with purpose, play with an intentionality to all of that. And I think that's where I'll feel really good about this team if they're doing that sort of thing. Can you pass up a good shot for a great shot? Are teammates on the same page? Are you avoiding those unforced errors, those turnovers where you pass the ball and the guy's not there and you're like, you're supposed to be there? Avoid all that. And I'll feel really good. Basically just a clean game against, not an NBA team. It's not a knock to say that they're not an NBA team. It's just a simple fact. Now let's look at Zion Williamson here when it comes down to this. Zion Williamson, I don't care what his stat line is going to be. I don't care about the rebounds that he's going to get necessarily in terms of the number. I don't care about the points scored, the field goal percentage, anything like that. What we want to see from Zion Williamson has more to do with the eye test. He's come in looking in incredible shape. So how does that translate to him on the court? And he actually answered that question. He said, being in this type of shape is I'm able to stay on the court longer. He said my movements are faster. They're quicker. I want to see that. I don't care if he scores or not. I just want to see him look better than he was a year ago. Right? I don't know how many minutes he's going to end up playing. He could play more than the 28 and a half minutes he was averaging last season, but you don't need to see that in this game. I just want to see him look better than he did a year ago physically when he was absolutely incredible as a player. I do want to see him fight for rebounds, timing the jumps well. One of the biggest skills when it comes to rebounding is when to jump to get the ball before another player can get it. If you time it too early, you might miss the ball. If you time it too late, another guy's in front of you and is got in better position. Do you have that timing, that rhythm down? Are you muscling through people to be able to get that ball too? Not getting boxed out, putting in the extra effort. With Zion, it's all about the eye test. Let's see what being in this kind of shape means on the basketball court. Does he move quicker? When he drives down the court in the half court, tries to go for a layup, doesn't get it because he's probably fouled, which happened a million times last year, and ends up on the baseline. Is he hustling to get back and make a play? The everydayers have heard me talk about how missing layups, those type of layups, those driving layups that end with you below the baseline off the court, give opponents fast break opportunities. And that was a big part of why the Pelicans defense was atrocious last year. It was missing shots at the rim. It was their offense led to their defense being crap, basically. Are you able to correct some of that? Even if you miss layups, it's going to happen in games. But are you then able to get back quickly and try and negate some of that man fast break advantage that these teams are going to have? And if the answer to that is yes, I'm going to feel really good about that. Zion doesn't need to do that in a preseason game necessarily. But if he is, that's a highly encouraging sign, I think. So does Zion Williamson pass the eye test? That's the most important thing here. Overall in preseason, I even said this to y'all the other day, Zion doesn't often warm up before the games. And so I'm curious if he's going to. I'm not there in Australia to be able to get there early and see, but I've asked some people to spy for me when it comes to that. So I'll try and report back if I get an update on that sort of thing. I don't exactly know what the rhythm and cadence of this is going to be like, or if it's going to be, like a normal NBA game where they go through their normal routines and things like that. That very well could be not the case. So we want to see all of these kind of things. Are you doing the right things that are going to lead to good results in the regular season, in other preseason games? Are you starting the process now, or are you kind of not taking this nearly as seriously? For Zion Williamson, this is going to be pretty important, I think. Show that this is the first chance for actions. I do think him showing up in shape is an action, as I've said, but it's been a lot of words. Show it now, right? Like, show it. This is your first opportunity to do it. Zion said he kind of wants to do this. Like, if I'm on a fast break, I might get up and throw down some sort of ridiculous dunk and put on a little bit of a show for the fans here. Again, more on that in the third segment, and I think that's an important thing to do. But if the Pelicans want us to take them seriously, and look, you don't always have to, and they don't always make it easy to do that, well, this is your first opportunity to do so. If you approach everything the same way, whether that is opponent better than you or worse than you, then I'm going to feel really good about the process. And I often preach process over results. And I do think that's an important thing. You also need results too. And sometimes you just got to get results however you get results. But the process does matter, because in a game, you could do everything right and still lose. That happens all the time. There are variables outside of your control. But if you're controlling the things that you can control and trying to eliminate as many of those variables as possible, it gives you more things that you can control. And so thus you kind of control your own destiny in a better sense. And I think that's a really important thing that this team needs to try and do. There's a lot working against them this year, but there's a lot working for them this year. So I'm going to be curious to see how it all looks here when it comes to everything. A couple of other things that I'm looking for in this game, that are just regardless of, it doesn't matter with the results on the court. I am off today, y'all. I want to see Trey's shot. He said he had to kind of rework his shot. He wasn't able to shoot threes for a really long time. Does that shot still look like it does? What about Herb Jones coming back from that shoulder injury too? Kind of very similar for him, right? Like, does the shot look good? I'm looking more at the mechanics of this, because given they really weren't able to use their arms how they want, your mechanics might be off. You would hope by now they've kind of got that in control, but it's very different to do it in a game than, in practice, even in an up-tempo pickup game or 5-on-5 or something like that. So I'm hopeful that their shot mechanics looks fluid and looks good, even if they're missing the shots. But does everything else look right? Again, process over results when it comes to this. This is what's important to me in this game here, and I'm very excited to watch. I'm just excited for basketball, y'all. It's back. It's really great. So this is going to be a lot of fun, I think. And I think this is a good way for a Pelicans team that needs to build a little bit of momentum, right? Build some forward momentum to go against, two teams from the NBL. Again, two good teams. It's a good league, but they're not NBA teams. But this isn't like a cupcake opponent necessarily. They should win. They should be better than them. That's I'm not insulting anybody by saying that. And we know that Melbourne United and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix are really going to come with it. But you just want the Pelicans to kind of get some wins, start feeling good, and start building towards something with a little bit of momentum behind them. And this is two good opportunities to do that, I think. So these are going to be fun, and I'm excited for these games, even if it means waking up at 4:30 in the morning to watch this on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. I'll actually tell you how to watch the games. It's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. And we're going to talk about the importance of this too. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. So right now, new customers can bet just $5, and you're going to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. It's really that simple. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you're going to unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So I love FanDuel because it gives you so many ways to play. I love parlays. Give me a same game parlay with the spread and a player prop in there for a bigger payout, right? You can even jump into live lines during games. If you see momentum's going a certain way, get in on that action right there. If you think momentum's going to change, jump on it before other people do, and you're going to get better odds. So whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience just a little bit more exciting. So don't wait any longer. Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, FanDuel.com, download the app today. And after you place your first $5 bet with new customers here, you could win $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's the best offer we've ever seen from FanDuel. Again, you can do that over at FanDuel.com. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 11,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well and become an everydayer. That means you listen Monday through Friday to the Locked On Pelicans podcast. And if you're an everydayer, let me know in the comments down below. If you're going to be waking up at 4:30 to watch this game, let me know in the comments down below. I was going to literally say, let me know in the coffee down below, which that's what we will be drinking waking up at 4:30. So where can you watch the game, by the way? It will be on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. So whether you're getting that now on DirecTV or over an antenna, you're going to be able to watch it free that way. Pelicans Plus will also have the game as well if you're in market. So there are multiple ways to do it. If you are out of market, I believe NBA League Pass will have it as well, though don't hold me to that one. So there are going to be ways for you to be able to watch this game to see the Pelicans play. I'm sure there will be replays a little bit later when it comes down to it as well, if you don't want to wake up at 4:30. And there will be replays, I believe, on the Gulf Coast. There will be a replay on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network at noon on Friday as well. So what that means for Locked On Pelicans is there will be no show like Thursday night. I usually record the day before the show technically comes out. It comes out at basically 12:01 a.m. on the podcast side. I put it out on YouTube early. It's usually like somewhere between 6 and 10 p.m. or so. There will be nothing on that on Thursday here. I'm going to watch this game and immediately record, the reaction show right after, and then it'll post. So it should still be ready by the time you wake up in the morning. But if you usually watch like the night before, just know that it won't be there, and we'll have something for you a little bit later when it comes to all of it. So that's still exciting that it'll be there for like your morning commute, hopefully, and everything. So finally, as we wrap up the show, I want to talk about the importance of the games in Australia. This is the first NBA team to go down there and play. I think that's really cool. Look, the Pelicans were partially chosen for this because of things like the Dyson Daniels connections and other things that they've had too. So, this stuff is planned a couple years in advance, so then he gets traded. It's not quite the same. But I can tell you just from my show and seeing the demographics and the data behind the scenes and things, there's a sizable contingent of Pelicans fans in Australia. And Australia is an awesome, they love basketball. They love the NBA. So for the Pelicans to kind of be the ambassadors of the NBA and go down for whatever reason, why ever they were chosen, I think it's just a really cool thing. There are going to be people that are so excited for this. Anything that can grow the Pelicans fan base, I am all for. I think this fan base is awesome. I think this fan base is one of the more passionate in the NBA, even if it's slightly smaller than other ones. And I like that. I've made lifelong friends from just listeners of the shows. I know y'all's, YouTube handles, your Twitter handles, anything that kind of grows the community for the New Orleans Pelicans, I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Shout out to Lyle Swithenbank, who's going to be there. Like, this group is awesome. And so for the Pelicans to kind of have this, like, in a sense, it is an honor to be able to go and represent the league, to represent New Orleans and play down there and put on a good show. And I hope they put on a good show. I hope it is entertainment, even if it means it takes away a little bit from the like absolute preparation the Pelicans want to be doing for the season. Sometimes things are a little bit bigger than that, and you've got to see that. And I recognize that here, the importance of this sort of move and what the Pelicans are doing. So I'm really excited about it, right? If that means it turns into a dunk competition with no defense, so be it. Let the fans get what they want, put on a good show. This is an entertainment product overall. That stuff kind of matters here. And look, more people watching, more people supporting the team can mean more funds for the team, more money coming in, whether it's merch, whatever. That benefits the franchise in some capacity, right? Like, they could get enough. This is a stretch, but roll with me here. They could get enough fans down in Australia, right? Maybe it's like, oh, it's generating so much money, we'll finally pay the luxury tax or something along those lines. Anything that just helps the health of this franchise, the health of this fan base, I am all for. So I love this. Not thrilled about waking up at 4:30 in the morning, but you know what? This is a cool and unique thing for the players to experience. That is a good bonding experience for the team as well. And it's just really cool. And I want to recognize that. And from what I've heard, the hospitality that the team and everyone that's with them, they have the dance team, they have others there too, has been really, really great and a really welcoming atmosphere. And it sounds like I'm kind of getting FOMO that I'm not there too. So I'm happy the team is doing this. I'm happy we get to watch this. I'll have the recap up for y'all on Friday morning, bright and early for your morning commute. They then play on Saturday at 10 p.m. Central, so a little bit better here in preseason against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. We'll, of course, talk about that either on Sunday or Monday. We'll see. So enjoy the games. Basketball is back. I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. And that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Pelicans. As always, I'm your host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Be back with y'all next time to recap the game.